As a transformation coach and existential counselor who works with a lot of smart, successful, analytical type thinkers, one of the most common things that they come to me with is feeling like they have so many ideas, so many thoughts. They want to get better at reducing the overwhelm, reducing the way that it feels like they're never doing enough. They have endless to-do lists. They have all these ideas that they never actually finish. They're not really living in a way that feels like they're maximizing their potential or really living their purpose. And so one of the most effective tools that I offer these people is meditation. And I really believe that meditation is the single most important skill to learn in life. I have lots of other videos explaining why that is. But for today, I want to talk to you about why meditation is so weird and so different from pretty much every other skill that you as a successful, smart person have mastered, right? That it requires a very different approach from the kind of learning, the kind of personal growth that you're used to. And so when a lot of my smart, successful clients who have been really good at mastering all sorts of other things tell me that meditation just doesn't work for them, they're just not a meditator. They gave it a try and it worked a little, or they couldn't keep it up, or their mind's just too active, they couldn't keep their eyes shut. When they tell me that, I think I understand why, because it is it requires a very different approach and attitude than pretty much every other type of skill building. And so I want to explore that a little with you today, so you can hopefully understand a bit of why, even if you think you're not a meditator, even if you think you've failed or it's not for you, it just requires a different framing. So one way to start thinking about this is that virtually every other skill, virtually every other type of personal growth is you're starting as a beginner who doesn't know what you're doing. You don't know the skill, right? So if you're learning a language, you're learning how to program, you're learning user experience design, you start out doing crappy work, right? You don't know the vocabulary words, you don't know the programming language. And then as you learn, as you study, you learn more and more. You get more and more knowledge. And so really kind of thinking can be valuable. Like, oh yeah, what was that grammatical structure again? Okay, it's that, or I'm gonna look it up, or it's more is better in many ways, right? And meditation is this weird thing because it's kind of the opposite, where more is worse and less is better. So it's kind of, instead of filling up the cup like with other types of knowledge, with other types of skill building, really you're kind of emptying the cup here. So it makes sense, right, that it feels so different and so kind of strange, because it's kind of literally the opposite in some ways of what you're used to as a successful person, as someone who's really good at learning things. So I want to offer a metaphor that I thought of earlier today. Imagine that you find yourself underwater and you're running out of air, and the situation starts to get more desperate. You think, oh my god, I can't last any longer. I need to burst up out and take a breath full of air, right? And so this is represents meditation. So you're sitting there, you've got your timer for 5 minutes, you're sitting there trying to stay focused on the breath or whatever it is, and you're thinking, oh god, I'm drowning, I can't bear this a moment longer, I have to open my eyes, I have to check the time. Right? So you're sitting there underwater, and you're thinking, oh god, I just have to try harder, I just have to squeeze, I have to push myself. I'm gonna stick through it, even though this is really hard to bear. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to stay underwater for as long as possible until my body kind of forces me to go up and get the air. And what meditation, especially from the Buddhist perspective, and especially the Zen Buddhist perspective, is suggesting here is that when you're stuck underwater there, feeling like I can't bear it, I need to burst up for air, a different way out is to soften, Instead of efforting and then you eventually have to push out and grab air, you soften, you slow down, and you check in with yourself. And eventually you realize, oh, wait, I have gills. And actually, I've had gills all along. So here I am thinking the situation is desperate. I have to effort. I have to effort. I have to push harder. And then, oh God, I just have to burst out to fill my lungs with air. The alternative path is actually I can just soften. I can relax so that my air lungs are less freaked out, and then my gills will naturally open, and I can breathe through them, and I can stay in the water. And wait, oh my God, being in the water is actually my natural state. I never realized this. Actually, I have been a gill breather all along. And I was just confused, thinking that I needed to be on this surface breathing the air up there. Because one way to think about meditation is it's a coming home to your true self, realizing that the truest self at an existential level is not the thinking mind. It's not the thoughts coming up that are saying, I have this preference. I need things to be a certain way. I need to stop meditating right now because I have this to-do list. Right? The true self is the consciousness that can observe those thoughts. And in Zen, we might say there's an even truer self beneath that. But in any case, you are not your thoughts, because the true you is the thing that can notice, oh yeah, there's another thought. And not every thought is true. Right? Like maybe the thoughts are telling me I have to do everything on this endless to-do list. And that's simply verifiably not true. You're not going to die if you don't do all the things on your to-do list. And in fact, it's a fool's errand to think that you ever can complete your endless to-do list, because you're going to complete some of them and then new ones are just going to keep coming. And really, that's how life works. It's an endless to-do list. More things just keep coming. So you have to accept at some point that your mind is lying to you when it tells you that you have to always do everything on your to-do list. It's just impossible. And so back to meditation. The way out, really, when you're sitting there really starting to effort and squeezing, like, oh, I hate this, I can't bear it a moment longer, oh God, oh God, oh God, is to realize you're getting so wrapped up in this suffering of listening to your thoughts that are saying, I hate this, I can't bear it, I need to open my eyes. And when you allow yourself to relax, right? Like if you've been having this posture of like, oh, I hate meditation, your shoulders are up, you're squeezing. Maybe they're actually doing this, or maybe it's more metaphorical, right? But if you can let your shoulders down, like, oh, actually, wow, that's a really loud voice in my head saying that I can't bear it. But actually, I am bearing it right now. I'm still alive. I'm still okay. Wow, I'm still meditating and the world has not ended. I'm not dead, even though my mind's been freaking out so much. I'm okay. I'm okay. And actually, perhaps if I really take this moment to examine my experience in this moment, there might be some really useful information for me here. And it's going to be really hard at first. That mind, that voice in your mind is really loud. But this is where the practice comes in. The more you meditate, the easier it is to soften, to slow down, and to just rest in this moment without needing to change it, right? This is why a lot of meditation teachers talk about non-judgmental awareness. Notice the breath however it is, whether it's shallow or deep or whatever. Notice what it's like to be right now. Oh, maybe I'm angry right now. Maybe I'm frustrated right now. Cool, okay. But just try to be with that without judgment. This is just how it is right now. And there are many specific techniques in meditation and Buddhism for doing all this. But what I want to express in this video really is just the fundamental idea of the way out of suffering here being not to push harder. Oh, I'm going to maximize these 5 minutes. I'm going to, push, but instead to relax and just say, okay, I don't have to push so hard. Wow, yeah, this feels like a long time and I can bear it. I'm already bearing it right now. All right. I hope that helps. Just see if you can bring that gentleness and give meditation another try, even for just a minute. Hope you have a nourishing day.